Welcome to a tour of the Tulum Mayan ruins. Located on the eastern coast of Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, Tulum is a world-known archaeological site that once was a bustling Mayan port city. This video will take you on a journey through the ruins, where you'll see stunning examples of Mayan architecture and learn about the rich history and culture of this fascinating civilization. Tulum is a popular tourist destination and an important cultural site of an ancient Mayan city that flourished between the 13th and 15th centuries. During this time, the Mayans perfected the skills they are known for today: architecture, visual arts, math and astronomy. They even refined the calendar, one of their biggest legacies. During this time, the population of Mayans was around 2 million people. Mayans built a thriving civilization in the rainforest, taking advantage of the environment and its natural resources, such as limestone for construction, obsidian for weapons, and jade for decorations. Originally known as Zama or Sunrise, small village with a view of the seafront, the city grew to Tulum, meaning wall or fortress in a Yucatec Mayan language. It reflects the city's role as a fortified port city. It was a significant commercial hub and a major center of Mayan culture, religion, and governance that controlled the trade from Honduras to Yucatan. The city was surrounded by a massive stone wall, which was built to protect and to define the city's boundaries. The wall has 5 tunnel entrances and is up to 5 meters, 16 feet tall in some places. Each entrance had its own purpose. The main entrance was used by traders who brought goods to the city. The entrance from the seaside used by fishermen and sailors who brought in fresh seafood. There was a special entry for the travelers coming to visit the temple of the god of the wind, and another one for the city's residents to access the freshwater cenote, a vital source of water for the city. In this tour, we will walk through 2 arched tunnels. The House of Cenote is one of the most unique structures within the ruins. It is believed to have been a place of ritual dedicated to the cenote located beneath it, and more likely the only source of fresh water within the city walls. The house had 2 rooms and a shrine against the back wall. An addition was built later to cover the cave entrance with a staircase leading into the cave underneath. Check out the walls of the house. The Mayans built them at the 7-degree angle to slow down the wind speed and help the house to survive the hurricanes. It is also the only house that directly faces the ocean. Mayan architecture that we will explore on this tour is characterized by tall stepped pyramids, geometric shapes, elevated platforms, and religious iconography of the gods. Natural materials such as limestone and sandstone were used in the construction. Large temples were built as focal points for the religious practices and doubled as tombs for rulers and sacrificial victims. Modern-day architects like Frank Lloyd Wright and Robert Stacey Jude incorporated the elements of Mayan architecture into their work. Prickly pear, also known as nopal in Spanish, played an important role in daily life of ancient Maya. This cactus was a source of food and medicine. The fruit of cactus, known as tuna in Spanish, was consumed fresh or dried. The plant's pads, or nopales, were known for their high nutritional value. The prickly pear was also a treatment for digestive issues and a natural source of hydration. Herbal medicine was widely practiced and Mayans were very skilled at it. In addition to its practical uses, it held spiritual significance. The plant was believed to represent fertility, abundance, and resurrection. The images of prickly pear can be found on pottery and temple walls. The Temple of the Wind is quite an interesting structure. It sits on top of the cliff overlooking a small group of shrines on the hillside. The intricate web of halls, in the temple walls allow the hurricane winds to blow, creating a whistling noise. This is how Mayans knew that the hurricane is coming. Pretty advanced warning system, isn't it? Seasonally, between June to October, sea turtles come here to nest. These turtles are known for their habit of returning to where they were born to give birth. A natural coral reef outside of the coast provides a fish breeding ground and a food supply year-round. The reef also protects Mayans from invasions coming from the Caribbean, since only the locals knew the location of the openings between the reef that could ensure a safe passage. Here you can see one of the most sophisticated structures of the compound, therefore believed to belong to a Mayan lord, the Palace of the Great Lord. The base of the structure is 80 by 50 feet and has 2 rooms with a palace shrine. If you notice, all doors and steps tend to be in odd numbers. Ancient Mayans believed that this was for good luck. On our left here is the Temple of the Descending God. It stands taller than other structures and defines the sacred compound within the city. The name comes from the winged sculpture above its entryway. The small room atop contains numerous murals depicting harvest gods and social order. The largest structure in Tulum Mayan ruin compound is El Castillo, or the castle. It's a 40-foot pyramid that was constructed in multiple phases. The upper temple contained a sacrificial altar, which is represented by a stone block at the top of the stairs. The castle was built in honor of the Mayan god Kukulkan. It's placed on the highest point of the site that allowed it to serve as a lighthouse. The religious ceremonies were held at 2 rooms on the top, while the offerings were collected in 2 rooms at the bottom. The House of Columns here is a structure that served as residential quarters for the members of Tulum Royal Court and served as an administrative building. There are some benches along the wall that probably served as sitting areas and even as beds for the occupants. A flat platform in front of the castle that you see here was dedicated for dancing and rituals. The ruins feature an amazing view of the blue water and white sandy beach. Inside the temple here, the archaeologists found an oldest written record from the Mayan era, a stela dating back to 6th century. The date of stela started a controversy, as it's believed that Tulum came to existence much later, though there is a theory that the stela was brought from the more powerful city of Tanka to Tulum for safekeeping. This clip brings you the most iconic picture of the Tulum ruins that you can find almost on any postcard. At the far end, you can see one of the watchtowers used by Mayans to guard the city from approaching foreigners. We're going to take another path along the cliff before descending down to the city's ruins and exploring the other side of the streets with more historic structures. You may notice that the shoreline doesn't look exactly what pictures of Tulum portray. A large amount of seaweed coming from Sargasso Sea annually brings brownish-looking algae to the Caribbean shores. The seaweed breeds and replicates in warm waters and has more flow of it during the summertime. Yet the seaweed season is getting longer and longer every year due to increase in warmer weather and warmer water. The best months to avoid the seaweed in Tulum and Yucatan Peninsula are November, December, and January. Though this year in 2023, second week of January already saw its large deposits that remain to shore up to the day this video is made. Check out this part of the ancient wall. It once surrounded the city and still guards the south end of the compound. Iguanas are a common sight at many Mayan ruins throughout Central America and Mexico. These reptiles are part of the natural ecosystem in the area and have become accustomed to the presence of the tourists. It is important to remember that these animals are wild and should not be approached or fed. They may appear docile, but they can move quickly and deliver a painful bite if they feel threatened. When you see one moving its head up and down fast, it is a sign that the iguana feels uncomfortable. It is a warning to the person to stay away. Iguanas are territorial animals and may become aggressive if they feel their space has been invaded. If you encounter an iguana while visiting in Mayan ruins, it is best to observe the animal from the distance. When Tulum Mayan City was built, the buildings were grouped along the so-called streets. The residential platforms accompanied the wooden houses with palm roofs. Unfortunately, those didn't survive due to their fragility. This two-story, richly decorated building is the most painted structure on the site. There is an image of the descending god and Mayan god of creation, Itzamna, represented by a large green mask on the corner of the building. Red-colored handprints on the upper level of the temple, assumed to have been an observatory for tracking the movements of the sun. This structure is called the House of Chultun. The building takes its name from a small chamber within the structure known as a chultun. It is a type of the underground storage that was commonly used by the ancient Mayan to store food and water. The building is believed to be used for harvesting the rainwater into the reservoirs that were stored in a shade under the straw roofs. Here is another one of 5 original arched entrances to the walled city of Tulum. So what happened to the Mayan civilization? There are three main theories on that. Constant conflict among Mayan cities could lead to a collapse of the empire. Perhaps a catastrophic change in the environment, like a major drought, led to a loss of the essential for survival crops. Or maybe the rise in Mayan population exceeded the surroundings that could no longer sustain the cities. In any case, by the time the invaders arrived, Mayans were living in small villages, and the great cities they once lived at were covered by the rainforest. Tulum remained occupied for 70 years after the Spanish conquest. After that, it was abandoned. Local Maya continued to visit the temples until 20th century, overlapping with the rising interest from tourists visiting the site. Many people think that because Mayan cities turned into ruin, the Mayans disappeared, but 6 million of them still live on today, farming the same land their ancestors farmed centuries ago. They are the largest single block of indigenous people north of Peru. Unfortunately, rapidly modernizing world leads to a disappearing of the rainforest, creating harsh conditions for Mayan people to adapt and survive. Their history is long and filled with tragedy, but the Mayans are characterized by a rare resilience, and within the resilience is hope for the future.